Hello, friends, and welcome to the special edition of WOD Radio and Boom Broadcasting. TNA had a great, fantastic pay per view last night. I got my bottle of water. I'm ready to talk about it. Such a great show. First, a lot of people were unable to get on the stream last night. Jordan Grace blames it on the global outlets, saying that they had a whole lot more planned for this TNA show that they planned on doing, but weren't able to do it due to the global outage that they're going to wait for another show. But no other than let's dive into it. We're going to jump right to maybe hit the pre-show and then jump right over into the main show. One thing I can say about the pre-show was that it was a pre-show. And it's not that many times I nag on WWE or AEW, but TNA got it right. If you're going to have a pre show, if you're going to get me invited, get me excited about wanting to watch it, then have matches and less commentary. WWE does a great job during the pre show with that hour of rolling B film, a B law back film of what the story to where the match we're at, showing some things that happened on previous Raws and SmackDown, showing things that happened on previous NXTs, maybe having that one match to kind of get you going. But TNA last night, hats off to them, knocked it out the park because they had a pre-show that had 4 to 5 matches on it. First one was no other than Tasha Steelz versus Shaw Brookside and Fabi. I picked Tasha Steelz. Tasha looked like a champ in this match. Very good, impressive win for her as she continues to move on the TNA roster towards getting the TNA Knockout Women's Championship title match coming up, being a number one contender. Then you had Kashada versus Rich Swann. Decent match right here. Kashada showed me he could work. Was going to get on a little bit and really kind of hammer in on him on the show, but he came out with the little Japanese bucket on his face and had the tattoos on like Hakushi used to have back in WWF back then in the 90s. So I was like, come on, TNA. But guy can work. Good match. Very impressed with him. Think that kind of offsets the things he did with the bucket on his head and all that stuff that gets me invested in him. Rich Swann, we'll talk about him later on, but what's happening with Rich Swann? Guy went from being a TNA world champion now to fighting on the pre-show and losing on the pre-show. Our next match was a TNA Knockout Women's Tag match. Good match right here. The Alicia Edwards and Marsha Slamovich won. Good match. Very impressed that the women's had this over there. When they moved this match to the pre-show, I said, okay, that means that going into the real show, a match is going to go a little longer. Then you had Eric Young coming back, defeating Hammerstone, come back. Anytime you get Eric Young on TNA, always good for the product. Eric Young did say, I will be watching the World Heavyweight Championship match because I want to make myself a contender for that match. So we move into Slammiversary, the main show. Kickoff, good match to open up with Broken Matt versus JDC Fandango from WWE. Broken Matt wins the match. And if you're TNA, you did right because if this is your first time watching their pay-per-view, if you are a WWE guy or AEW guy, WWE girl or AEW girl, then having somebody you can relate to with a Broken Matt and a JDC, better known as Fandango in WWE, opening up with that kind of makes you say, okay, I know these guys. Let's see what happens next. Good match. Broken Matt wins. We expected that. Nothing to go. Hammer on right there. We move to now the match of the night in my books. Tag match, old school NWA, WCW style. The System versus ABC. My man on Mike D from WOD this weekend said this would be the first crack in the System. We both picked ABC to win this match. ABC won, great match. Hey, the System looked good. ABC looked good. I was totally impressed with this match. And I think that they have something with this ABC team. You can continue to keep building with the System, but good match and a good match. Anytime you get a hot tag match as a second match, it kind of gives that balance of an opening match with established veterans that we know, hot tag match with maybe one veteran you knew from WWE, rest of these guys are TNA, homegrown guys, the indie guys that came to TNA. So good job right there with TNA on that. Then you got Mike Santana versus Jake Something. Another good match. We both said that Mike Santana needed to win to break out of that Santana Ortiz, what we're used to seeing in AEW. Santana looked good. I mean, good match right here. It was kind of like one of those matches. If it was the opening match, May could have set them up more to get more praise on. But coming behind a hot tag match, kind of hard to follow that. Those guys, both of them worked their butts off of this match, great storytelling. But when you come behind a hot 5-star tag match to this, it kind of up and down like a roller coaster, builds you, then takes you down. Then you got the Rascal Reunion versus the No Quarter Catch crew right here. The Rascals won. Good return for Rascals. Wesley looks good. Rascals look good in this match. Also, one of those matches that, kind of was in the right place, a good middle match to kind of get you set up as we get ready to go into now the title matches on the show. So first was the Montreal Street Fight TNA Digital Media Champion and the Canadian International Heavyweight title, AJ Francis, better known as Top Dollar, versus PCO. Really thought AJ Francis was going to win, but PCO, man, this guy won me over this match. He made me start believing in him. He just kept overcoming. Every time AJ Francis had him down, Rick Swan done something. Two of the Kinch where they brought along done something. This guy just kept finding a way to get back ahead, get back in the match, get his bearings back. Very good match right here. AJ Francis, to me, is doing some of his best work. If we could have got this in WWE, he may still be around. But he's doing some of his best work in TNA. And I mean, a guy like PCO to win not only your hometown, win one of your first single titles that you ever had since being a long journey veteran. He's been a journeyman veteran from several indie promotions. To finally win a title on a major programming in your hometown, hats off to him. Good match right here. One I would definitely go back and recommend people to watch. AJ Francis, keep an eye on this guy. I can start to see him now start slipping up into that heavyweight title division now. Guy could work. He can cut a promo, and he's got good things going for him. Next match, TNA Knockouts, one of the ones I was definitely looking for. Thought this would be the co-main event, but it was the main event right here. Good match, Jordan Grace versus Ash by Elegance, formerly known as Dana Brooke in WWE. Hey, TNA has really capitalized on Ash by Elegance with this persona as the model Rick Martel. She's got the valet who walks around with her. You really can believe it. The entrance is nice. Everything is good about it. The Juggernaut Jordan Grace just looks like an actual beast. Good match right here. We knew the Juggernaut was going to win. But if Ash by Elegance, if Dana Brooke, formerly known Dana Brooke in WWE, if she would have won this match, you could have really set something up for down the road with her and Jordan Grace again. So I think this is something that's not closed the door on it. I think this is just kind of progressing along to the next thing. And I think Bound for Glory, they run it back. Ash by Elegance can win this match and can have a good run as the TNA Knockouts as we see Jordan Grace now go on the chase to get the title back. Then we jump over to another match that could have been another contender for match of the night. Mustafa Ali versus Speedball Mike Bailey. If you check me out on WOD, me and Michael D, the founder of Boom Broadcasting, picked Mike Bailey to win this match. Big fan of Speedball. Good match right here. Good storytelling. Good pace. Everything just flowed just right. Could not ask for more. Great match right here. Mike Bailey ended up winning this match. And if now you're Mustafa Ali, you can break away now. And I don't want to spoil the next match, so I'm just going to say it like this. Then we'll come back and we'll revisit this again. You can now break away and start making your way to that TNA World Heavyweight Championship scene because you just dropped the X title, which to me, he made the X title relevant again. I mean, as him as the champ, I always say, some people need the belt to make them. Some people, the belt makes them. He made the belt. He made the belt. And he made it relevant again. It's kind of like when John Cena won the U.S. title. He made it relevant again. When Gunther won the Intercontinental title, he made it relevant again. Mustafa Ali made this X Division Championship at TNA relevant now that you can get a guy like Speedball Mike Bailey who can go on a long stretch of doing these type of open challenge matches, all this stuff with this title. So this was a good move. Mustafa Ali, now start heading your way towards that heavyweight division because now you can get a crack at it. Now leading us to the main event of the night, 6-way elimination match for the TNA World Title match. You had Moose, Joe Hendry, Malcolm, Nick Demas, Frankie Kazarian, can't name them all, but I mean, it was a good match. Order went like this. Steve Macklin was eliminated by Moose with the spear. Biggest upset of the night. And this is where TNA got it right. Then they got it wrong. Then I went back and thought about it. They really got it right. Moose was eliminated. The second elimination by, say his name, and he will appear, Joe Hendry. After that, I said, Joe was going to win this. Josh Alexander was the other guy in this match. That's what it was. You knew Joe was, I said, Joe's going to win it now. This was big because you just beat the TNA World Champ and eliminated him. Then turn out of a sudden, Josh Alexander, the wrestling machine, the wrestling weapon, low blow Joe Hendry, put him in the C4. 1, 2, 3. Joe Hendry's eliminated. And you, my friends, when it happened, I was very upset. Man, I was throwing stuff at the TV. I was texting the producer, the creator of Boom Broadcast. My dude said, oh, man, where are we going with this? But I sat back and thought about how you could rebook it. Now you take Joe Hendry out of the TNA World title. He's not out of the picture because he pinned the champ. So you needed that check. You needed that check in the box to keep moving. Now you set up this summer, him and Josh Alexander over a couple matches. Come back, have him win the title at Bound for Glory. Another big program for TNA. TNA, at first I was upset it went down like this, but it's long-time story booking. Key word for everything. Long-time story booking, long-time storytelling. Now you got Joe Hendry where you can say you pinned the champ. So automatically you're a number one contender for a title match. But now we can do this Josh Alexander feud for a couple of pay-per-views, couple of house shows, and run it like that. So good move. After that, Josh Alexander was eliminated by Nick Demas, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. After that, he started saying, and I forgot about Frank Kazarian. I thought he was already eliminated. He had been playing dead, possum, whatever, for so long. I thought he was eliminated. Had Nick Demas go out there and Frank Kazarian, and I kept saying, wow, either they're going to put a title on Nick Demas and he's going to NXT as the champ because you can do that, or either they're going to put the title on the longest reigning employee in TNA, Frankie Kazarian. And I started really thinking, man, it's going to be Frankie. Nick Demas was able to beat Frankie Kazarian for the 1, 2, 3, win the match. They did everything right because they made it feel big. Had the baby faces come out just like when Cody beat Roman. The baby faces come out when Dusty beat Ric Flair. The baby faces came out to the ring. Jordan Grace, ABC, Pop, PCO, PCO. All of them came out to the ring to celebrate the new champ. And it was kind of like the ushering in of the new regime. The system is just kind of like with Roman Reigns when the Bloodline lost. The system was the faction, was the regime. Moose was the torch carrier for that group, for that faction. Having him lose now lets everybody know that Dolph is the guy. Well, Nick Demas is the guy that we're going along with. He's the guy that we believe in. Now, here's what you can do. I said we're going to backtrack. Now, you can have Mustafa Ali slide over to that heavyweight division, beat Nick Demas in maybe 2 shows. You know, Nick Demas going for a nice title run, at least over 90-some days. Have Mustafa Ali beat him. Set up Mustafa Ali versus Joe Hendry at Bound for Glory. Joe Hendry wins the title. Confetti comes down. People going crazy. Kids are crying. Everybody's high-fiving. Great moment. That's what you can do. If I was TNA, it's all about long-time storytelling, long-time story booking. Now you have Joe Hendry's, Josh Alexander go at each other, setting them up for that match against Mustafa Ali after he beats Nick Demas to go on to win the title. TNA, good pay-per-view. Some people have said that this pay-per-view was better than WrestleMania. And I said, whoa. I saw it on Twitter last night. I said, pump the brakes. Was not better than WrestleMania, but was a good pay-per-view. And I will say this. Reason why not better, good pay-per-view, reason why not better than WrestleMania, I got The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody and Seth on night 1. I got Cody and Roman part 2 on night 2. That's one reason why. Sami Zayn beat Gunther for the Intercontinental title, longest reigning Intercontinental champion. That's one reason why. But I will say this. Slammiversary TNA was better than some other WWE and AEW pay-per-views. I can put it in the category that it did beat out some of the other ones that we've seen over the year. So TNA is definitely back. Good storytelling, good booking, good show. Gave it A minus only because Joe Hendry didn't win. And I think if Joe Hendry would have won, that would have been the icing on the cake, being that he's kind of like LA Knights, got a big backing from the fans. But it's all about long time story booking and having Nick Demus return back to NXT as the TNA champ is good. Having Joe Hendry make an appearance at the 2025 WWE Royal Rumble as the TNA champion is longevity. Good. Nick Demus going to NXT as the champ. Longevity for this partnership with TNA and WWE. Joe Hendry showing up at the Royal Rumble as the TNA World Champ. One more thing also happened last night after TNA went off. I hopped over to the Jake Paul fight. I'm going to talk about that real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. Supposed to be Jake Paul versus Tyson. Tyson had to pull out due to a medical injury. That fight is slated for November. Jake Paul could have rested till November, but wanted to fight. And this was not a tuned-up match, was not a transition fight. This was a real fight. Paul looked good. Paul won by referee's decision, TKO, in the 6th round. 8 rounds, it was slated to go. As somebody who's worked for combat sports, won't say what state I worked in, but for combat sports in that capacity, this fight should have been stopped in the 5th round. I do not think that Mike Perry was able to make it out of the corner in the 5th round. Yes, he passed the test. He passed the walking test. He passed all the referees' tests. I think the athletic department over there in Texas did an outstanding job. Referees did an outstanding job because his job is to show them that, 1, he's eligible to compete. 2, he knows where he's at. 3, he's eligible to go in there and fight and defend himself where he won't cause physical harm to himself. Those are the things he has to do and show the referee. He was competent, and I will say he showed the referee all of that. But if it was ever a time to call it off, should have been called off the 5th round. Was glad because in the 6th round, when Jake Paul hit him again, you could tell in the 6th round coming out that he was on spaghetti legs, that he was barely making it. When Jake Paul hit him about mid of the 6th round, I said after that punch, it's over. Stop the fight. If they don't stop it, throw the towel in. The fighter cannot continue. And at the end of the day, it's all about the fighter's safety. Can the fighter continue to fight safely? After that one last, I think it was a left hook or right hook that Jake Paul threw, it was over. I said, stop the fight. Throw the towel in. Your fighter's done. Good fight. Jake Paul now gets ready to go fight Mike Tyson in November. He said this was not a warm-up match. He wanted to fight before Tyson. He wanted Tyson last night. Tyson's health would not allow. He had a medical scare, but good fight. And I mean, I was very impressed with it. Looking forward to Tyson and Paul in November on the Netflix as it'll be streaming. That's it for me. Shout out to my man Maladon from Mike with the nightcap on the show. Shout out to all our friends from Boom Broadcasting for being able to be on this week. Glad you guys tuned into the WOD special edition right here on Boom Broadcasting. We'll see you next week. Better than ever. And as always, as we always say before we leave, support indie wrestling.